Sammy on the Ave. Today I'm here with a very special guest, Mark Morgan, the PA announcer of FE Sports and a bunch of other sport teams. Welcome.
Thanks, Sammy. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Anytime.
it.
Anytime. How are you?
Good, good. I'm not used to showing my face. Usually only people hear my voice, so I hope I don't
Exactly.
scare any of the viewers.
Yep. Anyway, I mean, now you get to show your face and hopefully people can see you, right?
That's right. That's right. Someone might notice me now on the way to the press box.
Yeah, right. So the first question is, so what inspired you to pursue this field and how did you get started?
Well, I always had a passion for sports. I came from my family, my dad. We grew up in the Midwest, and you know, we grew up in the Detroit area, and Detroit sports were huge. And as a kid, I walked into Tiger Stadium, baseball stadium. I was about maybe 6 years old, and once I walked in there, Sammy, I was hooked, man.
Oh,
Just a
wow.
cathedral, man. You walk in there, Tiger Stadium had 440 yards or to center field. It was 440 feet, and it was just huge, and the bright lights, and I was just hooked instantly. So from there, basketball, football, hockey, I just got hooked on sports. So later in life, I was in college, and like most kids, you're like, what am I going to do? You're in college just taking basic courses. And I just thought, I have this love for sports. And, to be honest, a lot of people were commenting on my voice. I worked in retail. I sold exercise equipment. So like, hey, you got a great voice. You should be in radio. So I said, you know what? I love sports. Let me give this a shot. And then it's all history from there.
Oh wow, I mean Tigers are doing pretty good. I mean they're in the playoffs right now, so
Finally, man, it took a
yeah.
long time. I think it's been a decade since they've been in the playoffs.
Wow, wow. I mean, and so next up we got the Pistons in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm a converted Heat fan now, but yeah, I still keep my
Okay.
eye on the
Yeah,
Pistons.
you go.
The Pistons, yeah, they got some young talent. We'll see if they can get it together. They got a long road.
Exactly, exactly. So next question. So when did you start becoming the PA announcer for FE Sports?
That was in 2006.
Okay.
I came on to do some radio play-by-play and like sideline reporting for football. And, football's not every week. So they said, hey, do you want to do some soccer PA announcing? Would you like to PA announce our volleyball team? So at first, that's where I started doing a little radio. And then other opportunities opened up to do what they call the Olympic sports, soccer, softball, volleyball. And I just jumped right in.
Of course. So what did you like better, radio play by play or PA announcing?
Well, my background is in radio, so I always feel like I was way more comfortable in play by play. But once you start doing PA announcing, Sammy, there's like this really cool, um, not only adrenaline rush, but just it's so great to be part of the fans and be with the fan because you're still a fan. You're cheering on the team, but you're not cheering on the team. You know what I mean? So, and there's a cool cadence to PA announcing, giving the lineup, especially on baseball, now batting the catcher, number one. It's just so cool to set things up. So when I started doing PA announcing, I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool too.
Wow. I mean that's cool. Yeah. So what do you think about FE this year, the basketball team?
I think they got great potential, man. The ceiling is really high. I mean, they brought in 11 new players, so you never know how they're going to gel the team chemistry. But the players they brought in, I mean, they've got guys who score in double digits, like Ken Evans from Jackson State. He was 18 points a game, and Leland Walker, 15 points a game, I think, and then Kiki Tandy from Jacksonville State, 17 points. So they brought in three guards who can just shoot lights out.
Oh
And
wow.
then they got a big man from Florida State, Baba Miller, expecting big things from him at forward. I think he's 6'11". So you got the big guy, you got the guys who can score, and then they brought in some centers from Europe. So they got all the pieces there. And then what a great coach they brought in. You know what I mean? John
Yeah.
Jacobs. He came from Baylor where they won a national championship and
Right.
Gonzaga Final Four. So you got the right coach. Seems like you got the right players. They just got to gel, man. I think it's going to be an exciting season. They want to score a lot of points. What the cool thing, Sammy, is when the coach got the job, the original press conference said, we want to score and we want to dunk. How many times do you hear a basketball coach say he wants to dunk the ball? So to me, that was just super exciting, man. They
Yeah.
want to be explosive, and that's great for the fans.
Yeah, I mean that's great for the fans and great for the alumni too, for sure.
Absolutely. They can keep on that tradition. I mean, we just went to the Final
Exactly.
Four. So now the expectations are high, right? Before players came in, they're like, we're at FAU, let's build something. But now these players come in, they see that banner hanging from the ceiling Final Four, and there's expectations, right? So they got to try to meet those expectations. I think that's really cool as well.
Yeah, I mean exactly. Yeah, I mean exactly. So I mean, so I saw you the Final Four. So on the Instagram picture, how was that? Like, how was that atmosphere? Like was it
It
cool?
was,
Electric? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it was amazing. That season we went, I believe, 19 and 0 at home, 18 or 19 and 0 at home. So they didn't lose a game at home that whole season. Me and my daughter flew out to Houston to watch the game. I didn't announce it, but I had to be there. I mean, you feel like you're part of the team. The atmosphere was amazing, Sam. It was like 70,000 people in a
Wow.
football stadium. They played where the Texans play. And
Wow.
you, again, it brought me back to what I told you earlier. When I was a kid, you walk into a football stadium, right? And you see this basketball court. So that atmosphere was just unbelievable. More FAU fans than I ever saw in my life. It really
Wow.
felt cool to be with the FAU fans, like thousands of them, and there was way more than San Diego State fans. So that atmosphere was amazing. And I
Wow.
mean, it just like 1 second away from going to the championship game. So the
That's
excitement was just off
crazy.
the charts.
Well, I mean, as you said, like you and your daughter. I mean, I thought it was you and your sister like 3 days ago before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So before your daughter said, oh, so you're interviewing my dad. I'm like, Wednesday. I'm like, oh, really? I thought that was your
Yeah.
brother. I'm like, oh, my bad.
That's great. That's good for me. You
Yeah,
make
yeah,
me
yeah.
feel like I'm younger because she
Yeah,
looks so young.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they call one of my daughters, Melina, Miss FAU because she's at every game. She's a huge fan. And
Exactly.
my other daughter, Marissa, went to FAU, so we got big ties to the college, man. It's awesome. It's really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So how do you prepare for each event, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I always tell people this. PA announcing takes about 2 hours of prep. Play by play announcing takes about 2 days of prep. So we'll just concentrate on PA announcing real quick. You can start before the game. I usually go online to the rosters, right? You want to get the pronunciations right for both teams. So I usually go on and get familiar with the visiting team first. And online, they usually have the pronunciations of players. You can click a
Oh,
little ear next to their name, and they actually pronounce their names now in a lot of these
uh,
websites. So that's what's really cool. And then you check the pronunciation guides. Obviously, FAU, I do that earlier in the season, and I don't have to do as much as the season goes on because you get familiar with who's going to touch the ball and the
exactly.
players. But yeah, the visiting team is usually the key. You want to see who's going to touch the ball the most. You look for the quarterback, running back, wide receivers, who's going to be their biggest tacklers, things like that. And then when you get to game day, you want to meet with what they call the SID, the sports information director for the other team, and they can reinforce a lot of this prep you've already done. Hey, is this pronunciation correct? Is this really your starting quarterback? Is this who's going to kick the kickoffs? A lot of times now, Sammy, they have specialists. So you have a kickoff kicker, and then you have a field goal kicker, and then
Oh,
you have a punter. So you could have up to three kickers. So you want to
oh,
get with the SID, right, and make that clear. Hey, is this really the guy doing the kickoffs? Is this really the guy doing the field goals? Um, Also, the who's going to return the kick. They have multiple guys back there getting to return the kick. So you're just checking to see if all of those line up with your roster. And another big thing, Sammy, is they use double and triple numbers now in college. They don't do it in the NFL, but you can have number zero on the offense and a completely different player number zero on the defense.
oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, they're wearing double numbers. So you got to make sure the guy that's running out is actually zero, and a lot of times defensive guys return kicks too. So that's what you're doing. You're just double checking and triple checking to make sure these numbers are correct and who's doing what. So that's a big bulk of the prep. And what a lot of people don't realize, Sammy, is there's a lot of marketing that goes on. When you go to a football game, right? You're usually just into it, drinking a beer, eating a hot dog, but all those
Exactly.
sponsor reads, they give me a packet
Oh,
about this thick worth of sponsor
wow.
reads. FAU's really, really doing a great job getting sponsors. So you got sponsor reads, you've got recognitions, game balls, a team captain. So there's a lot that goes into it besides just the calling of the game.
Wow, I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, with all the sponsors and like everything that goes into it. I mean, 2 hours seems short, but I mean, it seems long, but once you get going, I mean, it's like you're right there game time. So,
Yeah, it's a big production. People wouldn't know.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad they don't know because we want them just to enjoy the game. But if there's five people in the booth with me, Sammy,
Oh
five.
wow.
There's a,
Small
there's a
booth.
spotter. Yeah, there's a spotter. There's me. There's a producer. There's someone who runs the music and the lights. And
Oh
then there's
wow.
someone who runs the soundboard. So there's five people up there running the show
Oh
at
my.
a football game
Small
at
booth.
like FAU Stadium.
Yeah.
They split it into two. Me and my spotter get one booth, and then they got a hole in the wall, and
Oh
the
wow.
producer and the marketing team get another booth.
Oh wow. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow. So what do you So next question. So what do you consider to be your greatest strength as a PA announcer?
I heard some good advice a long time ago to be clear, concise, and correct.
Okay.
So with everything, you want to keep it simple, right? You can make everything a big deal, but I just like to keep it clear, concise, and correct.
That's a good
Am I
answer.
clear at what I'm saying? Is it short? I like to use less is more too. I'm a less is more guy because the more you say, people want to watch the game, right? They aren't there to hear the PA announcer. You add to the environment, right? And the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to add to it. I don't want to overcome it. You know what I mean? So clear, concise, and correct. And I think I'm really good at doing that. And I have the radio background too. So that really helped me when I got into PA announcing because you kind of already have those things in mind.
True. True. So I just saw on Instagram, obviously you have a picture of Vlad, who's obviously Michigan now. So do you have any other player connections or like do you still keep in contact with past players or present players or
Yeah,
anything?
John L. Davis. John L. Davis got pretty close to him as the
Okay.
season wore on, the last two seasons. He asked about me. He's really a cool guy. He went to Arkansas.
Yeah.
That's what was neat about that last basketball team, Sammy. I've been at FAU about I mean, I'm almost going on 20 years, but basketball I've been announcing since about 2010, 11.
Oh
So that
wow.
goes over 13 seasons. That was the first time I really saw the team really appreciate everything that goes into the game, right? They would come up to the scorer's table and be like, thanks guys for being here. How are you? They dab you up. I had never seen that from ex players or players in other seasons. So that's what I knew was different about that last team that went to the Final Four run. They did from the coach down, from Dusty May. He'd come up, acknowledge you. Hi, how you doing? All that stuff. So they were really personable and you get to know them a little more like Nick Boyd. I got to know a little more at the games and you'd see them out, right? Like you'd probably see them out
Yeah, of
uh,
course. Yeah, yeah.
in the clubs and stuff and out about in Boca and Del Rey. And it was pretty cool. And Vlad, what a people person he was, man. I don't know if you got to the games, but he'd stay there for half an hour and just take pictures with any fan who wanted to take a picture with
Oh
him. He'd
wow.
get with the little kids and they'd want to put their hands up to him, and measure their hand versus his big hand. And he stood around for I'd say sometimes an hour or so just to hang out with the fans after. So that last team is probably the most personable I got with the team since I did the radio play by play, in the early days back in the Howard Schnellenberger days. You get to know those players because you're around them, and when you're a radio reporter, you get to one on one. You get to really talk to them. Hey, do you have time tomorrow to do an interview? So um, I have a big connection to the 2007, 2008 football team, like Chris Bartels. Me and him still talk to this day. He was the radio play-by-play guy for a long time up until last season. So I keep in contact with him and I got to know those players really well too back in that's when they went to the New Orleans Bowl that year.
Yeah.
That was I wanted to say Sun Conference, but it's Sun Belt Conference Championship. So yeah, I got close to some players over the years.
That's super cool. Yeah. I'm saying also at the university, like, so what is so what does FA sports and the university mean to you?
It means a lot. I mentioned it earlier. My daughter went there. I went to FAU. My sister went to FAU. My dad actually worked at FAU. He
Oh
was the
wow.
manager of the bookstore back I'd say that was in the 90s. So I've been around that campus since I was a teenager, man.
Oh
So
wow.
FAU goes back a long time to me and be able to work there and watch them build their, football program from scratch and actually go to college there and get to know a lot of people. A lot of people come and go from FAU. I've been one of the few who stuck around and I've met some really great people. So it means a lot to me, the college and the sports, it's just in my blood, man. Owl for life.
Of course, yeah. So how much has that fee changed, like in a good way? Like, so since you were a teenager going there and now, like, up until now.
I think the biggest difference, other than having a football stadium on campus, right? I mean, that's just huge. When you drive on campus, people, that's a huge landmark for people to look at. It's really cool. I just say when I first got there, it was everyone called it a commuter college.
Oh,
But
wow.
since then, yeah, they've built up the dorms. They've got more events on campus. They've got more places to eat on campus and more things to do. And the sports have just grown exponentially. Basketball, baseball, softball, all of them are doing well. I mean, every sport has won a. I've announced 6 championships there, Sammy, since I've been there over soccer, baseball, softball, football, and basketball, of course. I might be missing one, but I mean, they've all had championships since I've been there. So I've seen the sports teams grow. I've seen the college grow, and now it's way more than a commuter college. I mean, they have over 30,000 enrolled now in the college. So I think that's the biggest thing, just the growth. All the facilities have gotten better, from sports to the dorms to the buildings, the new student union. So it's just grown, man. It's night and day from when I started there.
Wow, that's great for FAU and for the fans, for the community too. Um, so last question. So let's hear a PA announcer like voice for the FU basketball upcoming season. Like let's hear a little preview, I guess, of it.
All right, all right. And I was going to say that earlier. And look, I got my mic here, Sammy.
Oh, there
It's
you go.
never too far away, so I
There
can
you
get
go.
into
I'm
it.
seeing it here, yeah.
Without the mic, I don't know if I could do it. But when me and my daughter went to that Final Four game against San Diego State, I was still screaming
There
three
you go.
from the bleachers, man. It was great.
Awesome.
It was great. So yeah, we give big threes. I came up with a line. A buddy of mine a long time ago told me he heard it on the rec courts, and when someone gets a block, I say the lane is closed. So you'll hear that. It's kind of like an Easter egg. I don't say it a lot because we usually has to block it out of bounds.
Yeah.
So when someone blocks it out of bounds, I'll do a lane is closed. And a lot of people have caught on to that. So that's been really cool.
So
And then of course the intros, man. Actually, they're doing the Owl Madness next Thursday. So they're going to do the intros of the new players. They're going to have a scrimmage, dunk contest.
oh wow.
The women's basketball will be there, 3-point contest. So we'll get it warmed up. Next Thursday is Owl Madness. So you'll hear a lot of the stuff I do during the games.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Thank you for joining the podcast. And I'll see you at some of the games.
All right, Sammy. I'll definitely see you on the Ave, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Go Owls.
Go out. Let's go.